Welcome to Techpression Special. I am Olariwaju Adeni, and I have a guest here with me, Mr. Ezekiel Salako. We're here to discuss about the best data storage for the African landscape. We're proud to have you here, Mr. Ezekiel Salako.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
What are on-premises and cloud storage?
All right. Okay, let me just break it down as low as I can. When you talk about, let me start from cloud storage.
Okay.
When you talk about cloud storage, that means you have is a model type of computer storage whereby your data is being said to be in the cloud. And that means your data is somewhere that you don't even know. So you can only access that your data through network or through internet. And it's being managed by a third-party company. And we have example of those companies like Microsoft Azure. Microsoft has its own cloud, which is called Azure.
Okay.
We have Google Cloud. We have several clouds. And we also have a company like NetApp that will say, oh, sorry, we don't have our own cloud, but we can spin up our storage in any cloud of your choice. So when you talk about cloud storage, that means you're having a storage somewhere. You don't even know where your storage, your data is. You're having your data somewhere. You don't know where those data is. It's being managed by a third-party company, but you can have access to those data through internet, as simple as that. But when you now talk about on-prem data storage, that means your storage is in your own premises where you have maybe you have your server, you have your storage, you have everything. And as the name says, on-prem, that means it's on the premises.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
My follow-up question is supposed to be talking about the key differences, but you've given me a couple. Is there any more difference between on-prem and cloud storage that you might want to add?
Oh, let me just add some. For example, let me start from costs of running cost and maintenance. For example, if you are talking about cloud storage, once you buy your data, for example, I need 1 terabyte of data by Azure. I don't need to be concerned about cost of maintenance or cost of power, cost of cooling, and all those. They take care of that. I don't just need to bother myself. All I need to do is how much does it cost to have 1 terabyte for a particular period of time. And once I've done that, I don't need to do that because I'm buying the storage is in the cloud.
Okay.
So they have to worry. But if it's on my own side, that means once a while, I have to do preventive maintenance. I have to employ staff to take care of those things. And I have to carry on 1 or 2 things.
Okay.
That's running costs and maintenance. That's one. Then number 2, the costs of having on-prem storage is fixed. Once I've purchased my storage, I know this is the amount.
Okay.
And for the next period of a particular year, I'm not paying anything. For cloud, it varies. Tomorrow, whoever is hosting you you are having your data, we can come and say, oh, sorry, for that X amount of data that you are storing, formerly it was $1, but now you have to pay $5. You don't have any choice. It's either you say, no, I'm not doing again or whatever. So, the cost is fixed. Then when you talk about security, just like we were discussing before the show.
Yes.
On-prem, you have more control.
Okay.
When you talk about security. But for cloud, you don't have more control because you don't even know who is in charge of your data. That is why there is always compliance for most of financial institutions. They will not store critical data in the cloud. It will always be on-prem for financial institutions. So I'm talking about banks and all those. So they can put some other things in the cloud, but when it comes to where your money is, It is never in the cloud. Then so many other differences. When you talk about scalability, that's another thing. Cloud is easy to scale.
Okay.
I can just say, oh, sorry, I'm using 1 terabyte now. Hello, Google, I want to use 5 terabytes. Under few hours, you have your 5 terabytes. It can even be in minutes. But for this, you still have to plan. What do we have to buy? We need to bring the infrastructure. We need to install. We need to scale.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Yes.
So it's going to take time. In some organization, it can even take months.
Okay.
What is going to just take minutes or few hours for cloud. So you have all those differences.
So from our conversation now, it seems to me like the cloud storage platform is pretty much seamless and easy to work with in comparison to the on-prem storage, because on-prem storage, it sounds like it's how do I put this? It sounds a little complicated because you need a lot of infrastructure, but it's also more secure when you're talking about your personal and financial data, like you mentioned. So it's more expensive, if I'm getting you correctly?
No, when you talk about cost, it's relative.
Okay.
Because some of all these cloud providers, they can start with a very low price, and as time goes on, your price increases. And for you have your infrastructure on site,
Okay.
and at a very few points, there is total cost of ownership, and before you know it, the equipment become yours at least for very few years.
I see.
But at the other end, you have nothing. And when this is maybe end of life, you can convert it to maybe testing environment and whatever. You have something. So when you talk about cost, no one is relative, actually.
Okay.
It's relative. But when you talk about maybe simplicity, in this our part of the world, cloud storage looks a little bit complex. Why? Because of just one single reason. Internet.
You mentioned that earlier.
Internet. Because sometimes internet may be available and the bandwidth may just be very small, and it makes access to those things, to those data or those applications on site, then they now become very slow and crawling. But if those things are on-prem, very fast, you can always have what you want.
Okay. Just to clarify now, for people that might not know what bandwidth means, a lot of us here might not know what that means. So could you please explain to our audience what they mean by bandwidth?
Oh, okay. Let me just put it as simple as the speed of accessing your data. I think that should be enough. Just the speed at which you collect your data. For example, if you want to download 1 MB,
okay,
for how many minutes, for how many seconds, and in some cases where you want to download maybe 20 MB of data, it will just be few minutes. And sometimes it will take you 20 minutes. Kilo shell. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
So that means at that time, your bandwidth is slow. The other one is big. That is why you are able to download very fast.
So if I'm getting you correctly, you're saying that the major problem is our internet bandwidth, the speed at which we download data.
Yeah.
That's why we are not really moving to cloud in Africa.
Yeah, that is one of the reasons why most of the establishment, they are not moving to cloud. Today, you have very good bandwidth. Tomorrow, the thing is extremely slow. So you cannot actually determine.
We've covered most of the questions already without even diving deep.
Wow.
How can businesses ensure regulatory compliance when dealing with the infrastructures?
All right. One thing I want us to know is that there is always how do I want to put this? Rules and regulatory whatever in place when you are dealing with internet or cloud storage, especially for financial institutions. But one thing that businesses need to do is that in so many things they will want to play smart, and at the end of the day, it hurts so many people. I will give an example. For example, a financial institution is supposed to have a disaster recovery site. What do I mean by a disaster recovery site? If this is where your data is, you need to have your data in another location, such that when you are writing to this place, that is what the regulatory authority says. When you are writing to this storage here at this our office, at the same time, is writing to another of our storage in maybe in Abuja, for example, or in London, such that, God forbid, Larry, if anything should happen to this building, people will not say, where is my money? Or I can come tomorrow and say, oh, sorry, Tech Pression Bank. Yesterday, I just put 1 billion into your bank. What are you going to tell me? You don't have data to show. You understand? But in a situation whereby you have your data somewhere else, I think I'm digressing a little. No, so you have your data somewhere else. So you are just going to be off for a few minutes, and before you know it, almost immediately, it depends on what you have. You are already up to operation, and people don't even know what you have, what you've done. And it depends on the kind of replication that you've done. If it's active, the end user will not even know that anything has happened, and you are on while fixing what has damaged. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So some, they want to cut corners. They don't want to do the right thing. So by the time they are down, they will be down for several hours. They will be down for days. And a lot of them, they will lose so many customers because of that. But all this regulatory body, what they put in place, if you can follow it, most of the time, it is for the benefit of the establishment. So establishment, what they need to do is to sit down and look at, have I done this? And tick all those rules and be sure they are okay at the cost of running any data center.
I see.
Yeah.
So a quick follow-up question. Is there any penalty if the company chooses not to follow these regulatory compliances?
Honestly, for financial authority, I know there are penalties.
Okay.
But for others, I don't know, because I am not a regulator, you understand.
Which one is more secure, on-premise or cloud storage?
I will also say it's relative. But I've also told you before that when you are talking about threats and security, on-prem is better.
On-prem is better.
Yeah.
Because you mentioned earlier that you have more control over your data.
Yes.
And everything you want to do is on-prem.
Is within.
No one has access to it since it's not in the cloud.
Yeah.
You also mentioned that since cloud is monitored and managed by third parties, there's a limited amount of control you have over your data.
Exactly.
They could do anything with it without your knowledge.
Yes, anything can happen. Although I'm not mentioning anybody, but anything can happen. So, and also, by the time you are writing from your premises to the cloud, there's what you call encryption.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? Your data is encrypted so that somebody is not going to enter your network and sniff some things out. What if it's not well encrypted? You are going to the cloud. You get what I'm saying? So you don't have control.
Okay.
So, but when it's on-prem, everything you want to do, the only thing you have to do is to train your staff and be sure they are very good and sound. Then your data is well secured.
So is there any major advantage in using third-party storage platforms like Main One or Galaxy?
Okay, I will tell you. If you, I think we have a couple of those third-party data center in Nigeria. I think we have. Let me just. You mentioned Main One. There is also Galaxy.
Yes.
There is also Rack Center and many more. The major advantage is that, number one, you know, if you are hosting your data center or your data storage in your office, you have to take care of power, you have to take care of cooling, you have to take care of network, you have to take care of so many things, especially now that diesel is so expensive, you know. So, but in such a situation, all those things are being taken care of by places like Rack Center, like Galaxy, like Main One. What you have to do is just to pack all your equipment, move them there. So how much the cost of the fuel is doesn't concern you. So my AC is not working, that doesn't concern you. Everything. So how do I access this in my office? It is their own headache. So it's like having an hybrid cloud sort of, because you are still somehow putting your own cloud together.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And not to beat a dead horse here, a lot of questions I've asked you today. You said they are relative, a lot of them. So the main question, which is our topic for today, is which storage platform is actually the best for African landscape? Is it on-premise or cloud storage?
I would still say it's relative. But however, most small and medium enterprises want to go with the cloud. But large enterprises won't want to go with the cloud because of what? Control, number one. Number two, because there are so many things you can do on premises. There are so many protocols that you can run by yourself that you can't run while your data is in the cloud. So I would say it's relative, but if medium enterprise that their data is so small, or small enterprise, they can quickly say, okay, let me run to the cloud.
I see.
Yeah, but for large enterprise, no, they want to stay on-prem. So that is my own perception.
We've pretty much covered everything we have for today. So thank
so
you,
much.
Mr. Ezekiel Salako, for joining us at
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
He's the CTO of EFOB Nigeria. And can you tell the people where to find you on your social media profile, something?
Yeah, it's easy. Just go to efobnigeria.com. EFORBnigeria.com. As simple as that. Everything you want is there. So what we do, EFOB Nigeria is an IT professional service company. What we do with so many engineers that cut across all platforms. What we do mainly is professional service. We help to deploy, we help to migrate, we do backup and recovery, we do I have mentioned data migration, yes, we help with virtualization, anything of your IT, we can make it happen. And also, we can also be at your back, carry your ID card, and do any of your deployment for you. Thank you so much.
Thank you once again, Mr. Ezekiel Salako, for joining us on Tech Pression Special.
Thank you so much.
We're happy to have you here.
Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, sir. And that'll be all for you today on Tech Pression Special. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media platforms. I'm Olayiwaju Adeniyi. Until next time.